In 1843, a German banker made a decision that would redefine luxury champagne forever. Today, that decision costs $200 per bottle for their entry-level cuvée and up to $40,000 for their rarest vintage. Welcome to Fine Wines, where we uncover the remarkable stories behind the world's greatest bottles. In this episode, we enter the world of Krug, the only champagne house that ferments every base wine in oak barrels, ages for at least 7 years, and treats every bottle like a musical composition. Joseph Krug arrived in Champagne in 1834 from Mainz, Germany. He joined the respected house of Jacquesson and Fils as a partner. Over the next 9 years, he immersed himself in the art of champagne making, learning their techniques, studying their systems, and identifying a fundamental flaw: vintage dependency. At the time, even the finest champagne houses were at the mercy of the year's weather. In good vintages, wines were brilliant. In poor years, quality suffered. Krug believed this inconsistency was unacceptable, especially for a wine intended to express luxury, refinement, and permanence. On January 1st, 1843, at the age of 43, Joseph Krug founded Krug & Cuvée in Reims. In a personal notebook, which still survives today, he laid out his philosophy. Champagne should never vary in quality, only in quantity. It should always be exceptional, no matter the year. Joseph Krug envisioned 2 distinct expressions of champagne, each representing the pinnacle of quality. The first, Krug Grande Cuvée, would be the ultimate prestige cuvée, recreated every year to transcend the variations of the harvest. It is a masterful blend from an extensive library of reserve wines, crafted to deliver unparalleled richness and consistency. The second, Krug Vintage, would be produced only in truly exceptional years to honor the unique story of a single harvest. Central to achieving this signature style was a set of techniques unheard of at the time. Krug pioneered the primary fermentation of its wines in small 205-liter neutral oak barrels, a practice borrowed from Burgundy. This method doesn't impart oak flavor, but rather builds exceptional depth and complexity through micro-oxygenation. Each vineyard plot is vinified separately, creating a vast library of wines that is meticulously maintained and tasted annually. This bold, visionary approach is why every bottle of Krug delivers its legendary finesse and complexity, fulfilling Joseph Krug's dream year after year. When Joseph Krug passed in 1866, his son Paul Krug inherited the champagne house. By the 1870s, Krug was aging its base wines for 6 to 8 years before blending, 3 times longer than the industry norm of just 18 to 24 months. The cost was up to 300% more in storage. The reward was a price premium of 150 to 200%. But Paul didn't stop there. He began meticulously cataloging every vineyard parcel and vintage. Over time, this became the Krug Library, a vast internal archive of reserve wines. Every year, master winemakers return to this collection, selecting wines from previous vintages to blend with the current year's harvest. This approach allows Krug to maintain the house's signature richness and complexity, no matter the vintage's natural variation. The 20th century put Krug's long-term philosophy to the ultimate test through war, scarcity, and occupation. During World War I, German forces confiscated millions of bottles from champagne producers across the region, causing significant losses to many houses, including Krug. At the time, the house was under the leadership of Joseph Krug II, who had succeeded his father, Paul, in 1910. But when Joseph II was taken prisoner during the war, it was his wife, Jeanne Krug, who stepped in to manage the house in his absence, a rare and courageous act for the era. During World War II, many champagne houses, including Krug, secretly protected their most valuable bottles in underground cellars beneath rams. These hidden reserves were carefully concealed to avoid confiscation and damage. Vintage bottles from this era, including rare Grande Cuvée vintages, have since become highly prized by collectors, sometimes fetching tens of thousands of dollars at auction. The champagne boom of the 1960s brought unprecedented prosperity, but also immense pressure to industrialize. Global demand was surging, and many producers responded by scaling up, replacing oak with stainless steel, shortening aging times, and prioritizing efficiency over individuality. Krug took the opposite path. They doubled down on craftsmanship. Instead of chasing volume, Krug reinforced its artisanal identity. Every base wine continued to ferment in small old oak barrels. Blending remained a manual, committee-led process. Aging timelines stayed long and uncompromising, often 6 to 10 years on the lees. From 1962 to 1998, brothers Henri and Rémy Krug guided the house through this era of extreme specialization. In 1979, they launched Krug Vintage. In 1983, debut of Krug Rosé, a prestige cuvée made entirely in oak. 1986, first vintage of Clos du Mesnil, a single vineyard Blanc de Blancs from just 1.84 hectares. In 1995, debut of Clos d'Ambonnet, a 100% Pinot Noir from a 0.68 hectare walled plot. When it comes to price and prestige, Krug sits comfortably at the summit of the champagne world. A bottle of Krug Grande Cuvée typically sells for $200 to $250, and with critic scores ranging from 95 to 97 points, it's considered one of the most complex, non-vintage champagnes ever created. The Krug Vintage lineup climbs higher, usually between $400 and $450, with critical acclaim hovering around 96 to 98 points. Then there are the legends. Clos du Mesnil, a single vineyard Blanc de Blanc, sells for around $2,000, with scores reaching a perfect 100 points in top vintages. And at the very top, Clos d'Ambonnet, Krug's rarest cuvée, made entirely from Pinot Noir, commands prices of over $3,000 and regularly scores 98 to 100 points from leading critics. In 1999, LVMH acquired Krug for approximately 1 billion French francs, making it one of the highest per-bottle valuations in wine history. Crucially, the Krug family retained management. In 2009, Olivier Krug, sixth-generation family member, became global brand director, ushering in a modern chapter of storytelling and traceability. In a world built on shortcuts, Krug still takes the long way home, and it tastes all the better for it.